What is up, everybody? What's going on, family? Welcome back. It's phenomenal having you guys out on the Wednesday night with us tonight. I'm super excited to have y'all tapped in. I know we got the NBA playoffs tonight. My Lakers playing. I hadn't even looked at the score. They tipped off at 7:30. But this is more important. We're talking about building wealth and real estate invested, and more so, we're talking about leadership tonight. We got our brother Garcia Gaither with us. Now, how you doing tonight, man?
What's going on, brother? Aloha, aloha. I have to give you that aloha, being over here in sunny Hawaii. So all is well.
Most definitely, most definitely. All right. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tapping in, watching us tonight on live stream, on whatever platform that you're supporting us for the REI Genius community, my mentorship community, those that's live and watching. Thank y'all for tapping in tonight as always. And so I wanted to reach a bio, and then I'm gonna let you kind of give us your own words a little bit. What's not included in the bio? I love to ask my guests, what's not in the bio, because that goes a lot into what makes up individual. But Garcia Gaither is a highly trained leader and experienced professional that has been extremely successful in helping people attain their goals since 2006. He brings 15 years of experience as a serial entrepreneur that relates with his clients to create a non-judgmental and energized environment to truly pinpoint what is important to them. His goal is to draw on his own background to coach clients through critical challenges and build strategies to new opportunities and results. Phenomenal, brother. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and what's not included in the bio.
I think only a few missing points. Still active duty Navy. Been in 29 years now. Been pretty much, you know how it is. Being a service member has been pretty much everywhere around the globe, serving, seeing a lot of things, and it helped to kind of refine that leadership process. And thus, and met some great people. And in that journey, great mentors that helped me to position myself to where I could be a service and a resource to others. So, and I love entrepreneurship. I love real estate. That's one of my favorites. I grew up around that as a young guy with my dad, and it's just great to be able to serve and go from serving to serving.
Awesome. No, phenomenal, man. And I definitely that service resonates with me. Still serving active duty myself, and I think it comes with a lot of challenges. But and I know you're going to talk about the leadership piece, and I know that your military service has kind of served you now as an entrepreneur. But it a lot of times with us as military members and vets that we take for granted the skill sets that we have picked up along the way through our time of service and do how that directly translates into business. So yeah, talk a little bit about kind of how the military has kind of informed you and kind of gave you the skill set to where you are now in the business. Then I'm gonna let you just kind of talk to us a little bit more about leadership tonight.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point, Johnny. One thing we really don't learn about the military is exactly that, how they train us. They deliver a skill to us, and we sometimes we overlook it because we just the normal day-to-day life of just going in to work, doing the job. But we really shortchange ourselves and not seeing that it is actual skill set and that we can use and monetize on it and put it to use in other avenues in our life. I think we all have that what they call the American dream or a dream or a vision for our family, and we just don't realize that the skill sets that we gain out of the military is one of those resources that we can tap into.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I could not agree with you more. Because at the end of the time, I think about if you're blessed enough, only 20% of military members actually make it to 20 years and retire. That if you're blessed to stay around that long, you're doing something 20 years and now you transition to something, you're starting over, you're recreating, you're reinventing yourself. And it can be a really scary feeling, especially trying to step into entrepreneurship and try to start a business. So let's kind of dive in. I know a lot of people here, they want to hear a little bit more about leadership. And then from after that, you and I will kind of dive in and then we'll take some comments and questions from the audience too.
Okay, yeah, that's great, and then love it. Again, everyone, I'm Garcia Gaither. I'm a business development strategist, real estate investor, podcast host of the Boots to Suits podcast with 2 Z's. So definitely subscribe and follow that. You have a great time. and active duty Navy officer, and then an entrepreneur. And I'm from a small town in South Carolina, 3 stoplights, dirt roads, blue collar workers. Grew up back in the 80s and 90s where, the boxcars sitting riding on chrome rims, the loud music, and, all kind of activities that you can go back and look at the music, the movies and stuff that kind of show all the activities that was going on during that time frame. And but I was blessed with that I had my mom and dad, not in the traditional situation, nothing like the Cosby Show, but they were in my life and they helped me to groom me to the person I am today. I watched my dad. I watched my dad, who had multiple businesses, and some of them that he had me. I was cheap labor. I was a part of. Just watch him network and do so many things along that line, and which come to find out, his dad was an entrepreneur, also had his own business. So I think it ran in the bloodline. The reason why I have so much of a passion for entrepreneurship and being a business owner. And back during that time frame, I wanted more, but I just didn't know what more looked like. And I was a good student, and I was enjoying life as a teenager. Like, I'm pretty sure, like most of you can relate to, having that time, want to do adult things, but not ready for the full adulting yet. But I made the decision to join the military. And I didn't know if it was a good decision, but I made a decision just because of some of the other decisions I made, But in the military, the first thing I was introduced to is going to boot camp. I got people on the left, right side of me, in front of me in uniform from all walks of life, And my first introduction was like, this is not the more I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, not the more I'm looking for. But it was actually a great opportunity to learn. What I learned from that is they're changing people from going from a civilian mindset to a military asset. Let me say that again for you. From a civilian mindset to a military asset. And that was my first lesson in entrepreneurship. So going on, I took that and I was just trying to figure out that more. And I just had the work ethic for my dad. He just kind of instilled that in me. And over the years, I promoted. But one thing I think one of the biggest things about it is we all believe in the creator. The creator put us here. And I'm not going to get too spiritual about, we all have our different beliefs. But the one thing we do, we have the utmost faith in our creator. But sometimes we don't have that same level of faith in the inner part of us, the inner leader in us. And that's the game changer from taking that first step into entrepreneurial venture or sitting on the sidelines watching somebody else enjoy their ideal life. So one example like that, man, I remember so vividly is back when I was in the military, like my second tour. Like I said, I've been around 29 years, so I can still remember back that far.
Okay.
I wanted to set myself apart. I was a maintenance technician. I wanted to sit here and get the evaluations to promote. I still seeking that more. And what I had to do was I had to sit here and I wanted to obtain my instructor certification, but it was going to require me to come in like after hours. And my kids were small at that time. So my first mindset was to just I can't make it work. I can't figure that out how to make it work. Then I had to go and think inside of me a little bit and say, hey, let me go come up with a plan. And that's what I done. So I picked up my kids because the class was in the evenings. I set them up in the back of the classroom. The rest of the service members was up front, ready to learn. The kids were happy. It would end up being a win-win situation. The kids got their homework done. They got a snack. They went to work with daddy. Didn't know daddy was, trying to get some stuff done, but we was able to go home. Their homework was done, and it was a win-win situation. And it's just amazing how sometimes we sell ourselves short. We sell ourselves short on being able to work through the hard challenges. And those same type of situations come through to, and Johnny, you know that, even in entrepreneurship, in the businesses we have, whether it's real estate, running a brick and mortar or what have you, we
Right.
still have those same type of challenges.
Let's unpack that a little bit, because that's the thing, we have those challenges whether we're in the military or whether we're non-military on the civilian side. Why is that? Why do you think that that's the case?
Well, if it's easy, we wouldn't even be on this webinar right now. And the challenges that we see is we're looking for them because we're in the trench. We're inside the trench and we're trying to fight our way out of it. And we can't see what's on that other side, right? So sometimes it's a whole mental game, because depending on the type of individual you are and how you handle situations with your ideal behavioral style, your superpower, it may be a little bit more challenging for you. And that's one thing I had to learn about myself. In the military, I was making decisions as that leader. I was moving forward to get through. But when it was a new environment as an entrepreneur, or going here, in this case, trying to be an instructor, and really didn't know what I needed to do or how to make it work, and dealing with life. That was at the time where life was life. And, I'm sitting here trying to manage my little kids.
Right.
So that's how it goes.
No, 100%. I think that's the case. 15, 20 minutes ago, I was helping with math, 4th grade math homework. And at the same time, and I had my 7-year-old was in there reading. And, and so that's the thing that, just that time management, everybody's at home right now. They've gotten off work. They're managing the kids. They just got in from sports practice. But yet still, they're watching the live stream. They're engaged in understanding, trying to become better leaders. And I think, that perseverance that a lot of times, people, they talk about this generation being a lot softer, especially the military, that this generation coming up, when you start talking about military mindset and turn into a military asset, the old heads start getting to like, man, these kids, they get their cell phone at boot camp, they get timeout cards, they can, all that we didn't experience when we were going through boot camp. And I can say that too. I'm Air Force, so I did all of 4 weeks in the summer in between college of boot camp. So I can't stand up too strong and beat my chest. But I think that's the thing that we have to realize, that everybody is going through life. Like you said, everybody's lifing. Everybody's going through. And my challenge may be this, your challenge may be that, but it's still a challenge nonetheless. Who are we to downplay somebody's issues or challenge that they're having to go through and manage, regardless of what mistakes they made to get here? That's in the past. And I think that's one of the things that we have to look at, that everybody that's watching this live stream right now, whether they're watching it live or later, you are successful. You are successful right now where you are right now. How do I know? Because you survived to get to this point. Everything that was put in front of you, that was put in front of you to tear you down, to break you down, that you overcame it, and you're still here. You may still be going through, but you're still on this side of living of the ground. And so I think everybody needs to take a stance and just kind of get their own self a pat on the back and be like, you know what?
Absolutely.
I'm a little bit stronger than I give myself credit to be. I look at where I came from, where I was 6 months ago, where I was a year ago, where I was 10 years ago, that, hey, everything that's in front of me, I'm going to figure that out too, because I've done everything I need to do to get to this point.
And that's a great point. Sometimes, people in life think like there's something that's out there that don't exist, not even realizing the true existence of success is within you. You create it. And if you're not self-aware and know how to self-manage, you sell yourself short on the different luxuries for your family. And that's even like with my situation, I had to tap in with me as that leader, because we have leaders in the ministry, in our work, in our families, and in business. And you have to be able to sit here and make those hard decisions with confidence. And John, this, it's not easy. You have to be, it takes time. and repetition. You got, and that's how that competence build that confidence in making those decisions where even if it wasn't the best, because nothing is perfect, you already got a way to get to that next milestone of it.
100%, 100%. So how have you taken these experiences, the training side, the military side, to now? How have you brought that together in order to impact entrepreneurs and those that are looking to start businesses today?
Great question. So, one of the first questions I ask a client when they first get me, I ask them the same: what is the number one trait or characteristic that an entrepreneur or a business owner unlock within themselves? And and I've gotten all kind of answers: organization, planning, time management. All those are great qualities, but it all centralized around leadership, because we have to, at some point you're going to grow till you at the point you have to scale, and you can't scale without a team. So I have to sit here and look at it where for an entrepreneur or a new person into business, look at the fundamentals of the mindset first, then look at what your end goal or where you're trying to be, and let's reverse engineer that. And you're going to hit your milestones at every point because you've already thought through it. And that's where a mentor or a coach helps with that.
100%, 100%. And that's the thing that I tell people is like a coach and mentor, and we kind of use them interchangeable, but a mentor more so is guiding you, suggesting, leveraging their previous experience to kind of guide you in a certain direction based off their expertise. But one of the things that I learned in coaching and being as a trained coach, that we're tapping into what's already existing inside the individual themselves,
Yes.
and understanding, okay, based off the conversation that we're having, what you're telling me, I want you to explore this a little bit further. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then let you bring and provide the solution to your own problem and get to that solution versus me dictating, hey, go do X, Y, Z, and give you the checklist for success, because it doesn't exist. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a coach and mentor, that you don't know what you don't know. And being able to have someone that you can confide into, and that someone that's been there, done that, that has achieved a level of success that you're trying to achieve or more, it refines that process and allows you to, I call it the cheat code. When I talk about mentorship, it's like, hey, you're tapping into my 16, 17 plus years. Now I can get you to where I'm at in 4 or 5 years. I want you to be able to stand up on my shoulders and achieve a level greater than that I've been able to achieve. And I think that's one of the truest callings of being a true leader or entrepreneur, is that you build other leaders. And if you're not building leaders, then why are you doing it? You're doing something wrong if you're in a leadership position and you're not building other leaders up underneath you.
Absolutely. And it's amazing, because I think we were very fortunate to be in the military. So as you know, like I mentioned, I came in the Navy at 17 years old. So I could spell the word leader. I may have seen it on some sports because I was in the sports, but it really didn't resonate at that time frame of what that truly meant and the impact it have in so many different aspects of our lives. And now it's even taking it to a different level when you're sitting here saying there's an end goal of living that ideal life. And that's why it's so important to be self-aware, understanding that what's your superpower and how you can leverage the other parts of it to bring the right people to be a part of your team and put that puzzle together. Because the disc, once I started coaching, I had to look at, I was my number one client. I was my first client because I had to sit here and break down, understand myself, because I hate to be like, the military programs you to do certain things to support the mission. So it takes work to unfold that and become human again and understand the inner desires, what we want. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So if my goal is to make sure my family is going to be the board of directors for my business, and we're going to go take a vacation off the mountain in a mountain of Greece somewhere, and I'm still running a successful 5, 6, 7 figure business, it comes with a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot to get there, and you just don't do it in a year. It has to be very calculated. You got to know who you need, the right pieces to that. And that's what I learned. You know, I was fortunate enough to have like Eric Thomas as my coach at one point, to sit here and give me the nuggets I really needed.
Shout out to ET.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the thing. Yeah, man. And that's the thing. You got to have that mentorship. And I think, you know, for the military, it's like I've been around some phenomenal leaders that were on the military side that just knew how to get the most out of individuals, you know, despite the different attitudes, the upbringings, economic background, experiences, that they could get the most out of individuals. Whereas that if they told you you had to work 2 double shifts, if you had to go run through a wall, or if you had to go charge a hill with your gun and face the enemy, you would do it. And we all know people that we would bend over backwards, that we would run through a wall if they told us to, because they were true leaders. And so, and I think a lot of times that you get that experience and you have individuals like that, but they'll never rise up to the point of broad recognition, or, you know, to have a large platform where everybody will realize their greatness. And so I think a lot of times that in the military, you have great leaders that don't necessarily, you know, make it to be a general officer, or, you know, have the accolades to the point where they can rise above everybody else. But they're phenomenal leaders in their own way, regardless, and they have moved the needle and impacted others' lives, that, you know, they'll impact. I got leaders right now, and I can look at it, you know, like, and just start naming people, like the JC Mox and some of the other leaders, like BB Lang, and, you know, and so things like, it's like, hey, they were like great leaders. They impacted me. They gave me things and principles that I carry myself right now, and just my leadership philosophy. You know, the Alvin Burses. I started naming names. But those were people that poured into me, you know, for whether they were formal mentors or not. They impacted me in my leadership style and everything that I bring to all my mentees in the community. When I'm engaged in, you know, real estate transactions, leading my team with my multiple businesses, all while, you know, still being active duty, that you take this stuff every day with you. You know, being a leader at home, it all starts at home. If you don't realize that you're a leader of, if you're married or if you got kids, that you're a leader day one. You know, the Bible says, you know, from day one, you're in charge of your family, man, and that you got to be a leader and have that presence in the household from day one. It starts there. Then you go out to the world and everywhere else to step out and lead organizations, lead military units, to go from there. So that's the thing that just kind of stands out to me, is just there's some great leaders around there, but you'll never know it. And a lot of people, you know, they're humble, and you can't get opportunity to give a lot of their roses up front. So what does it typically look like when you help a client? When a client comes to you, what does that process looks like to kind of help get them on that accelerated path to success?
Oh, great question. Great questions. So a lot of times it's just a conversation like we're having right now, a conversation on what they are looking for out of life, for their family, for themselves. If they have aspirations to be an entrepreneur, being a business owner, what have they done? And what do they see for the business part of it too? And, you know, one of the first things, if it seemed like we that right fit, I'm gonna have them to take the assessment. Okay. So, you know, I have them take the assessment because that's kind of the roadmap of it all. Once I understand how they think, and what more importantly, when they understand how they think, it's like they have the map. They have the map to get through it, to get their business from a thought to on paper to a path to hitting milestones to a thriving business. That's it. You know.
100%. And so I think that what's up, man? That I think that goes a long way to helping people get clarity, because a lot of times you can't see the forest for the trees. You have to go back upstairs, all right? But I think that's the biggest thing that you have to do is help people get out of their own way and realize the things that, number one, what matters most is what they need to focus on when it comes to business. And I think, you know, the more that you can kind of get the clutter out the way and you can focus to you know, on what the task is at hand. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, that you start off by doing everything. You know, that you're a team of one to do everything. You gotta be in charge of marketing, you know, the strategy, the vision for the company, payroll, you know, outbound calls, you know, the networking, you know, the accounting. You're doing it all, bookkeeping. And I think that's one of the things that you get overburdened, whereas that you can't even focus on the strategy to kind of go through the next level, that you got to figure out just how to get through the end of the week or get through the end of the day, really. And so I think being able to have somebody to help you clarify things in the task and understand what's most important, it gives you a leg up to kind of go through and let you focus on what are the most important key tasks to focus you into a level to kind of get that growth going or whatever it may be. And so, and I think that's the thing with having that overarching leadership as a coach, that you can come in from the 30,000 foot view. Is like, hey, I've been there, done that. I've worked with a lot of successful clients. You need to do this, this, and this. And then come back and see me in 1 month. Let me know where you are. And then we're gonna reassess it. Then we're gonna strategically position these things here. And oh, by the way, go talk to so and so. I think he can help you with that marketing problem that you got right there. And so now it just clears the lane for success, and it helps you avoid a lot of pitfalls and mistakes. Because I tell people that, you know, smart is, you know, learning from your own mistakes, but wisdom comes from learning from other people's mistakes. And I think that's where the coaching and everything comes in. You avoid a lot of mistakes and you get there a whole lot faster.
And that's a major part of it, you know, the clarity aspect of it, you know, because you hit it dead on. If it's the clarity, building the strategy, and then executing the play. And like I tell a lot of my clients, I can't do the execution or the implementation, but I can help you get the clarity, build clarity on the vision, on the concept, and we put the strategy in play. And maybe just like sports, I'm a sports guy, so you know, I look at, you know, go Miami Heat. You know, I am the one that sit here and say we may have to do a timeout. We may have to say timeout. Let's adjust the plan. All right, let's go back and get it. You know, and that's why I tell them a lot of times. And I think a lot of times we end our call with go get it. And the first time I introduced that phrase to them, go get it, is because I need that buy-in from them to let them know that their goals, their visions, their dreams is achievable. You have to go get it. But the thing about it, only you truly know you're it. I can sit here and say what it is, and it doesn't. And you know what, Johnny? This is the crazy part. I find a lot of my clients, I end up talking to them about life problems too.
Oh yeah, yep.
So you know, I'm talking to them about life problem because they asked me like, well, how did you first come up with Swell's Career Life? I said, well, for one, I've been on at sea for over 20 some years, so I'm used to the swells of the ocean, and we can't control it. You just have to learn how to adapt to it. And guess what? Life is a lot like that, because we have the ebbs and flows in life, and you have ebbs and flows in business. And let me tell you something. If your life is not right, if home is not right, you're not thinking about business. You're not thinking about your career. You're not thinking about anything else. So you got to be able to know how to ride that wave on that map that you created, because it's not going to go away. You can't just let it quit. You can't quit. That shouldn't even be a thought in your mind.
100%. And I like that. I love that analogy, the swells of life, because you don't control. And I think that's one of the things that we fail to realize, that you can't be all in on just the business and you're not feeding your emotional self, your mental health, your spiritual self. That I equate it to a three-legged stool, whereas that if one leg is out of phase, is too short, or it's not on, they're not all the same length, if they're not all filled, then you can't stand up. You're gonna fall down when you sit on that stool. And so you got to keep a balance. You got to understand where you're deficient at, and being able to be able to fill in those gaps, where is that you're complete. And we call it the holistic airman approach, whereas that you're leading all phases of life, whereas that you're not just focused in strictly on work, because eventually you're gonna get burned out. We got one comment that kind of stood out to me from Ashley, that brought up the mentorship seeming like a burden. Kind of pivoting from the coaching, but the mentorship side, which is, just having somebody to mentor. What does that look like? Have you ever experienced that, or had somebody approach you whereas that they felt like they may have been a burden, or the mentor may have been too busy, and maybe come off in a way where somebody feels like they can't even have a conversation with you?
Well, I look at it. I look back at some of my earlier days in the military, and I even look at it as when I even started in business, and had to break through the fear of approaching some of the business owners and leadership in military, like, hey, can I talk to you for me? I got some questions. And they are busy. When you think back at it now, they are extremely busy. So that time, we have to manage our time. We have to be so critical with our time, because we can't get it back. So a lot of times, everybody have a question, but they don't even, an individual don't take the time to even think about the question they're about to ask you and the answer. And they want you to give them the answer. And there's nothing wrong with that, of, hey, let me seek out mentorship to see how did you get there. But we have to also look at it from the other side. I don't know what that individual has on their plate. And if they sit here and say, hey, I don't have time right now, it doesn't mean they're shunning you off. It's just, you may need to come back at a different time. And we need to ask the right questions to get to, hey, this may not be a good time. When is a good time? So I can sit down and I have some targeted questions for you to ask about these particular things. The whole, let me pick your brain. From my experience, it don't typically go well, because it's so broad. But when you have specific questions, you get the right answers, and they'll take you so much further. But John, if I say one thing that really can turn off a potential mentor, if I give you the advice, and then the next time I see you and I ask you, how's it going? Did you do those action items that I and recommendations I was given to you, and you don't do it, you just ended that relationship, or possible relationship.
Facts, 100%. And for me, that was one of the things, why I started my mentorship community, because I was having so many conversations, 30 minutes here, an hour here, just talking, and it would be so frustrating. You will follow up with somebody 3-4 months later. They haven't taken any action. They haven't done anything, the things that you recommended, you suggested. And it's like, man, I wasted an hour with you, and then you didn't even do anything with the information. I got sent these emails, gave you this information. And it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I got to figure out another way, especially after I wrote my book, and, just people were reaching out to me and everything. It's like, I got to have a better way where I can maximize my time, because I still got my business. I'm still serving active duty. I'm still being a present husband, father of 3. It's like, okay, how do I do this? And so that's why I kind of created my mentorship community. Is like, okay, how can I pour into the people that are really serious, that's really trying to, level up, to build wealth? And, and so we ended up with, doing things like this, whereas that now I have a community where I can bring in great individuals like yourself on different phases, all across the real estate spectrum, everything, to be able to help people and leverage my network, whereas that they don't have to start from scratch. They can leverage everybody in my network. I can bring them in. I can point them to the right people. I can bring in great real estate professionals that can help them build wealth and pour into people without having to go through the, having 5 hours of conversation. There are a lot of times the same conversations, but now I can have those conversations, one to many. Whereas I can have the one conversation we're having right now, we're touching everybody in the community. Everybody's getting the information they need. And if they have specific questions, they can jump in and ask those questions and we can help them out. So that's what it's all about. Because, the worst thing that you want to have is a mentee that's not taking action, that's, just kind of spinning their wheels and wasting your time. So I think that's one of the biggest things that, the mentor, if you're listening out, you're looking for mentorship on the real estate side, definitely tap into my my real estate mentorship community. If you're, I think even whatever your career field is, you need to have a mentor in your career field.
Yes.
You need to find a senior individual that's a VP, the CEO, CFO, wherever you aspire to be next 5, 10, 20 years, whatever it may be, and whatever your career is, that you need to find a mentor, reach out to somebody. And I tell this to people all the time, that I talk to a lot of the baby boomer real estate investors. These guys and gals, they love talking to other motivated younger real estate investors to see the next generation. I love helping people that's looking for wisdom and looking to try to learn and level up. That I think that's a great thing. So definitely, I think if people walking away tonight, definitely need to figure out one, find you a mentor, whatever it is that you're trying to be successful at in life, find a mentor in that field. And then two, that you need to think about how do you develop your business. If you never ran a business before, you might need to have a coach. You might need to have some training. You might need to have a strategist that you can talk to help you navigate that landscape and make sure that you plan it out right the first time, whereas that you're not making a lot of mistakes. And
that's a great
point.
Having
to go through and repeat, and then actually having to lose a lot of money. That's the thing that people don't realize, that you're losing time and you're losing money at the same time. So that's you're taking a double hit. And so I think it definitely is definitely something that we got to keep top of mind. And people don't realize, like, you didn't come out, when you were born, you didn't know how to walk, you know how to talk, you didn't know how to do calculus, you didn't know how to do geometry, all that stuff. So it's like, I tell people, it's like, okay, you coming to being a real estate investor. Were you a real estate investor 10 years ago? It was like, how are you going to teach yourself something that you didn't know how to do? And like, you come out the gate and like, don't go through making a whole lot of mistakes. So like, people have been doing this for years and years, that you have to learn. It's a process. So don't go out trying to figure it out by yourself and figure it out all alone. Where it's like, people already made these mistakes. You just got to read about them. You got to learn about them. You got to have a coach that's made them. And people can help you be successful a whole lot faster, so you don't have to repeat the same mistakes. So
and that's it right there. From a mentor or coach standpoint, they're going to help you to reduce that time to get to where the mistakes that like yourself or myself have made in our businesses. We're going to cut that time in half, because now I just gave you the playbook to, hey, do these things so it won't cost you this, or it won't take this much time. And that's like the secret sauce, to a lot of it is that's what the process about. I think it's safe to say, John, like you and I, we're in the people business. We're in the real estate business, we're real estate investors, but we're in the people business too, because we want to see everybody win, because we never know on the other side, we're one deal away from creating an ideal life, and the relationships put us there because of that one joint venture or that one investment opportunity.
Yep, that's it. You're only one deal away. You are only one deal away, from changing your life. And I got 2 clients right now that I'm consulting on that they're running flips that they put zero money in. And I tell people, like, you worry about money. You're like, you just got to worry out. You put the vision together and you create the deal in your mind, and everything else. I'm like, you can find, there's plenty of money out here. You can find the money. I'll help you find the money if so be it. But I'm gonna teach you how to find the money. And so that's just limiting beliefs, because we've always had a different relationship. It was for me. I had to have a transformation personally myself to go from broke Johnny to woke Johnny. I had to change my mindset and how I grew up, in the relationship that I had with money growing up, and the scarcity mindset when it came to money. That I'm like, there's a whole nother world and a whole nother thought process out here about money, and the use of money. And I try to stop using the word money, that is capital. Because when we start talking about investments and getting a return on it, we're deploying capital. because we're buying assets versus money that we're when you think of money, you're talking about a consumer mindset, and you're buying
Yes.
depreciating items. And so that's the thing that I can talk about this stuff all night. When you start talking about leadership and business development, that
Yes.
there's so much that goes into it to be successful. So kind of, in summary, kind of going through what's the next steps for you?
Well, it's funny because entrepreneurship requires strategic decisions, right? And as I have made that some decisions on, what's next for me after the military, I had to look within me again, having that faith of seeing what would be next, and that's on my map, my navigation, on my charts, as the Navy call it, and the coaching is I'm full steam ahead. I want to see touch more service members and let them know that the past of just thinking that was your only stream of income is just that, the past. You can still be in the uniform and you can be a 7-figure, 8-figure earner in your business using your skills. And there's nothing wrong if you want to keep that job. We have to be able to tap into our skill sets and our talents, because what you may see as just something I learned over here, you're solving a problem someone else. And for me, my goal and my aspirations for my next journey is to help and support and be a part of that team for those individuals, so they can be in that community together, like this community, and we can sit here and open more doors and create that wonderful ideal life.
For sure, for sure. And that's what it's all about, like my wall poster behind me of Kobe. The most important thing is to try to inspire people to be great at whatever it is they choose to do. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
being able to go from serving the nation, serving your country, to now to serving others in another capacity. That's what it's all about in life. It's just being
Yeah.
able to help people, and the satisfaction. You can't even put a price on having somebody tell you their life would not be the way that it is now. Their life would not be the same if they haven't met you. That it's like
Right.
you can't even put a price tag on knowing the impact that you had on somebody with that. And so I think that's what it's all about. It's just
Yeah.
being able to be just great human beings, and get out here and get belly to belly with people, and help people live their best lives.
Absolutely. And with that, once you're aware of who you are as a person, and you know how to tap into the inner leader, you unlock the potentials to be phenomenal. You unlock that potential to be phenomenal, because if anything else, you're going to procrastinate, and procrastination delays affirmations.
Ooh,
So
okay.
it's just like we have to sit here and do the things we need to do. We need to get clear. We need to build strategies, and we need to communicate with the right people to hold us accountable. If I could go back into the 90s and have a conversation with that teenage me, I'm going to tell him what more looks like and how to get there in half the time.
That's
Because
it.
back then I didn't know.
Yep, that's it, and that's the journey that we're on, this continuous journey. You never really get there. You never really arrive and get to that point where that you don't have to continue to read. You don't have to continue to learn. You don't continue to have to continue to try to grow as a leader. That
Yeah.
You eventually become stagnant. I think that's the goal, is just continue to get better each day. And if you can look in the mirror and say, I did my best, and I'm a little bit smarter than I was yesterday. That's it. You
That's
don't have
it.
to compete with anybody else. You don't have to compete with any other real estate investor, no other business owner. That you're competing with yourself, and that's it.
It's too many opportunities out here. Too many opportunities out here. Johnny, what you're doing, you're showing your community how to make the money. The community got to take that and be use the superpower in them to learn how to keep the money and grow the money.
Facts. Facts. Yep, and that's the thing that we're working on that too. We're working on that too. I was telling a couple of people in the group that when I went to Orlando for spring break, that I met with my estate attorney, and so that's some of the things that we just talk about real estate, but the tax planning, the wealth preservation, having setting up trust, being able to
Yes.
look at whether or not whole life insurance policy makes sense for you as an individual, for what you're building, all that stuff that you got to have a holistic approach
Right.
to building wealth. And that real estate is just one vehicle, but there's other ways where you can impact, being a business owner, investing in other asset classes, and just all of that goes into building a legacy that you can
Right.
hand down to the next generation. So I appreciate that. Where
Yeah.
can people find you, man? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Definitely. I'm on LinkedIn, Garcia Gaither, on LinkedIn. And then, I have my calendar. We can send a link out for that. My website is swellscareerlifecoaching.com, swellscareerlifecoaching.com. But I mostly reside on LinkedIn a lot, putting out great content there, if I must say so myself, great content. And it just want to tap in with those like-minded professionals that one client at a time, I can help and support them to reach their vision and dreams for their ideal life.
Yep, most definitely. I'm gonna open up the floor. Anybody have any questions? Any questions out there? Any comments that anybody has? I have a couple, but I'm gonna hold out to for those, give them first dibs on any questions somebody may have right now that's out there in chat. They can drop those, and yeah, we'll do our best to answer. But no, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come out and have this conversation, because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had more. It's a lot of people out here just trying to go through the entrepreneurial journey, building a business by themselves. And
Yep.
there's for me, I didn't have a whole lot of people. I didn't have anybody in my circle that was invested in real estate. I didn't have, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had a business, and he got me along the way and the mindset and the approach to building wealth. But he only took me as far as he could take me, which was far enough. And I was like, okay, I got to keep going. I got to build upon this. But now, just I tell people, mastermind groups, being in organizations with like-minded people, whatever it is for me, is real estate investing, that it changed my life. It changed my net worth. Being able to be in the room with other people, decision makers, people that can give you referrals within their network, for other people that can help you get to your goals faster. That's been life changing for me.
Absolutely.
Just on so many different levels that mentorship is the key. Networking.
It is. And like I mentioned, like my dad was a business owner, but he never shared the information. I watched, but he never shared the information. So I had to figure it out and learn. And, YouTube, and now we got YouTube University, reading books and everything else. But it's exactly that. So I made it a priority that my kids I would introduce that to them, whether they want to be a business owner. I would introduce that to them. And even, I'm proud to say, like my son, he took interest in it. And John, you met him, and I met him before.
Yep.
And he went to a mastermind with me. And the biggest thing that he gave himself the pat on, I gave him a pat on the back. He gave himself the pat on the back, and he paid his own hard-earned money to go to a mastermind to see some of the people that we see on television, influencers doing well, some of those 7-figure, 8-figure earners, and was in the room and was able to have that conversation. To a 20-year-old, that's a game changer.
Yep. It is.
So that's what it is for us, man. We have to sit here and connect with the younger, I hate to say millennials or the younger generation, but these are the adults,
right,
to show them it is possible, it is achievable, and there's nothing wrong to have that mentor, have that conversation, and invest in yourself. Don't look at it as how much does it cost. Look at how much is it costing me not to pay for that mentorship or coaching to get to that other side.
Yep. You'll be amazed how many people I talk to that struggle with paying $27 to get $1 million information. It's crazy. It's crazy. But but that's the thing, that your inaction, that if you had the skill set to flip one house a year or to add one rental property to your portfolio a year, whereas that 20 the average flip last year was $40,000. That's what Forbes magazine said. $40,000. So if you flip one house a year, 40K, that you not learning that skill set and actually taking action and doing that inaction is costing you 40,000 a year. Maybe you sleeping on yourself. You're a really good entrepreneur. You already know construction. Maybe you could have did 5 houses in 1 year. It's costing you 200. Inaction is costing you $200,000 every year because you're not taking action, and everything that you could have moved out on, that information, you're not doing it. So that's why I tell people that with time and not taking action and procrastination, that's the most expensive. That's the most expensive price tag that you're gonna pay every year, is your inaction. If you're not moving out on your dreams, if you're not building that business, if you're not building that side hustle, because the Federal Reserve already came out and said that they're about to get the unemployment rate up. The unemployment rate's about to go up to 4.5%. They need 1 million people to lose their jobs. I pray that nobody watching this is part of that 1 million people that they need to lose a job. But at the same time, you need to diversify your income. Don't put all your eggs in that basket. You need to create some passive income. And because everybody says it's not a recession until you lose your job, and then it's a depression at that point, because it's really real. And so that's why I just encourage people you got to think differently, because they didn't teach us this stuff in school. And the more that you can kind of think outside the box and just leverage what's happening right now in the economy, the better off you'll be, for sure. Look like we got one question here. How can we make it in the market for LLC and other agents not coming forth with offers and then impose deadlines that aren't there until my offer is made? So I'm thinking on that one, that she's asking about, so making an offer for a property and the other agents. Yeah, I think Ashley may have to clarify that, but it sounds like she's asking about an offer being made and they're sitting on the offer until they receive other offers.
It's competitive right now, though. Johnny, I think it's really competitive right now.
Yeah, depending on where you are in the market, whether you're above or below the median sales price, that it's picking up. I was talking to a mortgage broker friend of mine today, and he's like, man, it's been a crazy week. He's like, we got so many people with submitting applications for mortgages. And so it's interesting. It's interesting. You got some markets, like Austin and Boise, that sales prices are dropping. Then you got other markets, where it's the complete opposite. So real estate is definitely local. It's more so than ever it has been. Yeah, I think that question that agents, I think you gotta work with agents that understand your goals and agents that are good. I'll probably tell you 80% of agents shouldn't be agents. That I'm gonna just put it out there. All real estate agents are not equal. The majority of them don't. The majority of them, I don't know if it's a knowledge gap or they're really chasing the transaction, and the level of support, especially I look at everything from an investor standpoint. So I'm really specific and detailed, and I expect certain things when it comes from a realtor, and it's essentially you're gonna earn your commission. That I'm not gonna nickel and dime you on your commission. I used to. But when you get a really good realtor, they really deserve their commission because they're working for you. You're building a relationship, and they're going to be your eyes and ears for the future. Whereas that not just this deal, but all the future transactions that's coming up. And so it just it takes time to build those relationships and get the right realtor, and understanding that it's really with transactions down over 40% from last year. That you really want to be with the right realtor that's not out here that started another job, working part-time and then doing real estate part-time. I think that's going to really be at your detriment. That you need somebody that's really well versed in the market, that knows marketing, that knows how to drive the deals. And if you align with those people, that you'll be successful.
I totally agree. And having your SOPs and setting the expectations and maybe haven't been able to allot that time to sit down with those agents and seeing what they know, where kind of somewhat interviewing them to see what they know, because you want them to be able to bring the deals to you and already crunch the numbers. Understand what type of ROI you're looking for, and how did you get that. So when they can sit here and think how you're thinking, that I think that relationship will be a lot stronger and better to grab the better deals for you.
Yep. No, 100%. And I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And looks like Ashley said, so she had a cash offer on the property, and but the client called as a buyer without an agent because he didn't want them to lose their home, and the agent took the offer. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It happens. And that's the thing. But like, that's good. Now like you really don't even want to work with a person like that. That's gonna work behind the scenes and kind of take people out the deals. Like, yeah, people show you their true colors, believe them.
Yep,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That's what you got to do. But no, I think we're coming up on the top of the hour. I want to be respectful of people's time. I really appreciate you, brother, coming out and just blessing us and sharing information about your business and what you're doing with the lives that you're changing. On the business side of things, you're still serving and still operating at a high level, man. So I just salute to you and everything that you're doing and building. Let us know with my community, whatever we can do to help you. To everybody watching, support tonight, that's watching on live stream, I definitely commend you all taking the time to learn and come out and support and looking to grow within your own self, and let us know within the community what we can do to help you all as well. You all have a blessed night. And we got the second annual Veteran Summit. I'm flying out to Dallas tomorrow, and so I'll be speaking there Saturday. We'll be up day. I'll be around all day Friday as well for the conference, and just we're gonna be helping people level up in real estate, and I'm super excited about that. So yep. For those that are being proud, I know we got a couple of people in the community that be there in person and some supporting online and watching. So definitely appreciate you guys. Can't wait to see you. And we'll have something next week, next Wednesday. I think we're gonna look at doing a case study for those that get everybody tapped in and kind of do some underwriting. But I appreciate you, brother. And
this is a great experience. This was great. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely have you back. Everybody else, y'all have a good night.
All right.